The Pharisees came to Jesus, testing him and saying to him, "Is it lawful for a man to divorce his wife for just any reason?" And he answered and he said to them, "Have you not read that he who made them at the beginning made them male and female? And for this reason a man shall leave his father and his mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh." Say, one flesh.
One flesh.
So then they are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore, what God has joined together, let no man separate. They said to him, "Why then did Moses command to give a certificate of divorce and to put her away?" And he said to them, "Moses, because of the hardness of your hearts, permitted you to divorce your wives, but from the beginning it was not so. And I say unto you, whoever divorces his wife except for sexual immorality and marries another commits adultery. And whoever marries her who is divorced commits adultery." Wow, that's pretty strong. Now, we learned a lot of things over the past 2 sessions that I've been teaching on marriage. And we're just going to go over some of the things that I've already taught you, and then we're going to pick it up from there, okay? We learned that God joins a woman and a man together in holy matrimony. And when he does that, it's a lifetime commitment that they make before God and to each other. We also learned that the word gameo comes from the word to marry. It means to marry or given in marriage, and it comes from the root word gem. And we also found out that precious gems such as emerald and rubies and especially diamonds, they are formed by the pressure and the heat that is put upon those stones continuously. And so God looks at marriage as a gem. Why? Because he takes 2 people, a man and a woman, and if he joins them together in holy matrimony, then he fuses them together. They're no longer one, but they're one flesh. He makes them one flesh. They're not one and one. And it's not like getting glue and putting it together. Because, you hear the saying, well, we stick together like glue. Glue can also, under pressure, it'll melt and it can separate. But when you're fused together, you're intertwined with your partner. And it's like your spirit, your soul, and your body becomes intertwined with each other. Now, he also goes on and he speaks about that men should, when you get married, that the 2 shall become one. And he says, and he also says that that Moses did not permit, it was never in God's plan for them to get married, but to get divorced, but Moses allowed it because of the hardness of their heart. And I want to just pick it up from there and say this, that I believe people get divorced because they never really understood the purpose of marriage, not God's covenant. Okay, because once you understand God's covenant of marriage, you will never think about divorce. It's not the church you got married in. It's not even who married you. It's understanding the purpose of marriage. And as I mentioned before, sometimes when you're young, you commit to, or even when you're older, you commit to that person, you love that person. But, people change. And you can't just be committed to that person in marriage. You have to be committed to the institute of marriage. If you're not committed to the institution of marriage, then it's very easy for when things don't look the same and when you grow apart, that it's easy to go and get a divorce. But you see, God is always a God of love and a God of forgiveness. And we can just look at how he forgives us and learn from that experience that as God forgives us. In marriage, 2 words are real important. I'm sorry. Okay? I'm sorry. Yet we find it the hardest thing to do. We'll justify, we'll fight, we'll argue, we'll hold out because of those 2 little words, I'm sorry. Oh boy. Okay. And so we also learned in the Word of God when we saw it in Genesis where when God created the woman, he took her from the side of man, from the rib of the man, and Adam named her woman. And she was not taken from his head, above his head. She was not taken under his feet, nor was she taken from his back, but she was taken from his side. And that is, she was called a helpmeet. So her role in marriage is to be a God